ready.
Let's call this meeting of the Gulfstream Town Commission to order. Rise, pledge the flag, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rita, would you call roll?
Commissioner Ganger.
Here.
Commissioner Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner White. Here. Commissioner Orthwein. Here. Mayor Morgan.
Here. We've been presented with the minutes from the July 11 and the rather truncated August 8 commission meeting. If there are no corrections or additions.
Move approval of the minutes.
Both.
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Ganger.
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein.
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda items? Rearrangements?
We want to move item 9A and B to be heard immediately at the end of the announcements, which
Okay.
would be under number 6.
6B.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? No?
No.
And our next meeting is the 23rd, which will be the final budget hearing. Please put that on your calendars. And the next formal commission meeting will be October 10th. If you're not going to be available, please let the town know. Let's move on to that first item, which is Resolution 14-05. Rita, would you like to read that for
I'd be
us?
very happy to. A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Gulfstream, Palm Beach County, Florida, expressing appreciation and gratitude to Edward C. Nazaro. Whereas the Town of Gulfstream is committed to compliance with the public record laws of Florida, and whereas in 2013 and 2014, the town has received an extraordinary number of public record requests, but its small staff needed assistance responding to them. And whereas Edward C. Nazaro, a Palm Beach County resident, known to friends and colleagues as Trey, provided hundreds of hours of assistance and advice to the town, despite his competing private responsibilities as a law student, law review editor, Florida bar applicant, and as a husband and father of a newborn baby. And whereas the Town Commission wishes to express through this public record its appreciation and gratitude for the efforts provided by Mr. Nazaro, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Commission of the Town of Gulfstream, Florida, that, Section 1, the Town Commission of the Town of Gulfstream hereby expresses on behalf of the town administration and on behalf of the residents of the town its appreciation and gratitude to Edward C. Nazaro for his assistance with the town's public records process. Section 2, a copy of this resolution shall be presented to Edward C. Nazaro and shall be made a permanent record of the town. Passed and adopted this 12th day of September, 2014.
Is Trey here? I didn't think so. Because I would like to have congratulated him on this resolution because he put a considerable amount of effort into assisting this town, helping to our staff to deal with the public records requests that come into it. Despite the fact that he was a law student, serving on the law review, and husband and father, I think it's remarkable the effort that he showed. There's been a reading of the resolution expressing our appreciation to Edward Nazaro. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Rita?
Commissioner Ganger,
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes.
We will have this signed after the meeting, and we'll see that, I think we have some friends here that will see that it's delivered to him.
Great. Next is the Public Records Compliance Program that we also moved up to Section 6B for discussion. Rita? This is included in our packet and going to be presented by, discussed by Keith, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This document basically reflects all of Trey's work and the procedures that he helped the town put into place for how you process public records requests. It provides guidance to the town. You'll see it leaves a lot of room for discretion to the staff, but it gives you a good understanding of the basic procedures that this town is now implementing on a regular basis with all the public records requests. It is, again, discretionary. It also allows the manager to make minor modifications to the document as necessary as we continue to evolve and improve in our process for responding to public records.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
I'm Keith Rosardi with Jones Foster.
Any questions of Keith regarding the public records compliance program that's been presented to us? It's very thorough, very complete. I think it's going to be of great assistance to the town, particularly with the increase in public records activity and the importance of responding properly to them. So I thank you for your efforts in that regard, as well as Trey's. If there are no other questions, this has been presented with a recommendation, I believe, to adopt the public records compliance program as a town policy. Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Gainer?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We move to communications from the public. Did anyone from the public care to speak?
I think I'll take a shot.
Mr. O'Boyle?
Yes, may I?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. When we come to the section in the budget and the litigation costs, I assume we'll be able to speak at that time?
When we're discussing the budget, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. I have in my hand a document, and before I speak of the document, I just want to ask, does Gulfstream believe in open and transparent government?
It's not a question and answer period, Mr. O'Boyle. If you'd like to continue making comments, you may.
I understand. I asked the question, does Gulfstream believe in open and transparent government?
We're not going to engage in question and answer. I've made that clear to you on several occasions. I think it's rather obvious, frankly, but if you'd like to sit down and ask these questions of town staff, please make an appointment.
My question is, I don't think it's that difficult a question. I think the people in the audience, including myself, are entitled to know the answer to that question. We had this dialogue last time. If you don't want to answer it, and the commission, the rest of the commissioners don't want to answer it, I'm good with that.
Mr. O'Boyle, of course we have open dialogue and open meetings. Of course we do. But if you'd like to continue to Q&A the commission, you have your time, and we'll continue to deal with it in the fashion that we've dealt with it in the past. But if
Okay.
you'd like to comment on that topic, you're certainly welcome to do it.
Okay, well then let me tell you the document that I have. I have here a handwritten confidentiality agreement. Now, you don't have confidentiality agreements in open and transparent government. I have it here. And it's signed by that fella right up there. Now, my question is, and maybe you won't answer this one either, and I would understand that, what is this all about?
You want to talk about something else, Mr. O'Boyle?
The
I'm not
answer
going to
is,
engage in questions and answers with you.
that's fine.
So please take advantage of the opportunity to speak, voice your opinion. We welcome it, as we do from all of our residents.
That's fine. I think the difference is you don't like the way I do it, and I understand that. That's fine. Mr. O'Hare, you're a party to this agreement. Would you object if the mayor answered a question about this agreement?
I have no objection, no.
And I assume the answer is you still won't answer any questions.
Of course not.
I would say, of course not, but I understand that you won't. This is signed by, a little hard for me to read, by the way, Joanne O'Connor, Christopher Hare, Scott Morgan, Scott, what's your architect's name? I'm sorry. Chris, what's your architect's name?
I'm sorry?
Lou Rader and Mark Hanna. So you have 4 lawyers, Mr. Morgan and Mr. O'Hare. Now at this meeting, I don't know what happened, but what I do know is Ms. O'Connor went to the meeting. My son is a lawyer. He represents Mr. O'Hare. Ms. O'Connor knows that. She went there and she dealt with Mr. O'Hare without consulting with my son. And that is a violation of Rule 4-4.2 of the Florida Bar Ethics. Now, if we go on beyond that, 4-8.3 requires that, Mr. Randolph, that you report this to the bar. And I am going to ask you to kindly report it to the bar. I'm going to ask you to provide me with evidence that you have done it by next Wednesday evening. And if you, or give me a reasonable date thereafter, I want to be fair with you. And if you don't, I will file an ethics complaint against both you and Ms. O'Connor. And I thank you for all those questions you answered, Mayor.
I thank you very much, Mr. O'Boyle. Would anybody else like to speak? Mr. O'Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to speak. I don't hear very well. Did you move item 9B to the front of the agenda, the resolution to adopt a policy for public records? Did I hear that correctly?
A and B went to 6B, right before the communication with the public.
I wish I had a chance to talk on that because I looked through that policy and through some of the experts I've hired, I know that there's at least 3 items in there that have already been adjudicated by judges. They're in violation. There's plenty of case law that shows they're in violation, and I wish I could have pointed that out to you before you adopted it. Well, that's all. Thank you.
Would anybody else care to speak? Yes, Ms. Randolph.
My name is Patsy Randolph. I live at 3883 Gulfstream Road, Gulfstream. I moved here 3 years ago. I lived at a lot of different places, but Gulfstream really became, what I loved about Gulfstream is the quaint, family-oriented community feeling. And I'm proud to say I didn't make a mistake. I love the people here. It's been really a wonderful experience. I live here just around the corner in a 4-story building on Gulfstream Road overlooking the golf course. In the mornings, I love sitting on my balcony, drinking coffee and watching the kids head off to school. They come in all sizes and ages, arriving on skateboards, bikes, bouncing balls, playing with baseballs, creating the lacrosse sticks, skipping, or sometimes running because they're late. It is just sheer joy to watch them. Their conduct on the road is respectful, they understand the rules and abide by them. It's kind of like a time warp, being back in the 50s when Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best were our moral behavioral compass. So it was a rude awakening when I saw planes circling our village and beach with signs using dirty, lewd bathroom language. To be exact, the words tur and fart. But more shocking was the truck parked in front of the town hall, which is one of the routes right here that walk around. The kids walk from here around the corner to the school. In big bold letters on the truck sign was the word douchebag. I think we were all brought up to understand that vulgar bathroom talk is simply wrong and would not be tolerated in our homes nor in our schools. It is one of the major rules children grow up with. So how do we explain to Gulfstream's children not to use bad language when they see bad signs overhead or driving by them? Whoever is responsible for these vulgar, lewd signs, please stop it. If you have a beef with the town, use a high ground. Set the right tone. Our children deserve better. They deserve to be respected. They deserve to leave it to Beaver Father Knows Best standard. There should be no need for legislation or lawsuits. We all know how to behave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Renshaw. Would anyone else care to speak?
Can I just stay right
You
there?
may, Sandy, absolutely.
My name is Sandy Hullard, and I live in 388 Gulf Stream Road. And I've lived here for 15 years, and I absolutely love Gulf Stream.
That might be brought down. Can that come off there so she can have a mic so it gets recorded?
Let me get it.
Thanks,
I've lived here for 15 years and absolutely love this place and all the people here. I just cannot believe Mr. Boyle, how you can possibly want to do to this darling little town what you're doing. I have stage 4 lung cancer. It's inoperable and incurable. And to have to watch the things that you do in the sky and right out my window, I can't believe it. I've never in my life, I came from a lovely little town in Connecticut, and there were no people like that. I don't know why you are so hateful of this place. You really must have a terrible thing going on in your head to make people so unhappy. I'm not going to ask a question because I'm not allowed any questions, but was going to be, why? Why are you doing this to us? Putting douchebag on the street. That's disgusting. At any rate, that's what I have to say, and that's the way I feel.
Thank you, Sandy, and appreciate very much. Appreciate very much the effort you took to come here to our meeting today. Anyone else care to speak?
I'll just say ditto.
Okay, anyone else? If not, we'll move on. To reports. Mr. Brandon, report on the undergrounding status.
Danny Brandon reporting for the undergrounding project. You have a handout, I believe, at your desk. Page 2 of the handout talks about some of the status things that are going on. The contractor is currently in the process of converting the electric services. The main systems are in place for all the power. And there's a map on page 3 that kind of shows a green area. The homes in that area already own the new underground system, and they're moving north, converting them. This was approximately 1 week's work with rain and interruptions. The original notice to proceed was issued on January the 6th of this year with an 8-month window. That would have closed out on September the 6th, which is a Saturday, which we typically move to the next work day. We've had one FPL delay that's been about 10 days in some of the work that we needed to get done before they could start energizing these and moving forward. We have 3 holidays, and we have one change of plan that costs us about 3 days. A total of about 18 days that we have to add on to the contract according to the provisions in the contract. So at this point, the contractor should have all the services converted and be substantially complete by the end of this month. The he has a 30-day window after that for cleanup, things like repairing any sod, landscaping, or asphalt, things like that, and removing anything that's left, and maybe getting the stakes out of the people's yards where they were marking the route. But to finish the cleanup,
Does that include the AT&T conduit by the end of the month?
yeah.
And on the map, the green area is the around Pelican Lane area. Has that been activated, that power?
They are on the
They're
underground
on the
system.
underground line, great.
Right. And we will be updating this probably more frequently than once a week. We're sending the addresses as they're converted over into the town hall, so staff will know who was converted, who will probably be converted tomorrow, who's planning on being converted tomorrow in the event that we have any inquiries.
Danny, has anyone in that area been unreachable? In other words,
No,
okay, and a kind of a follow-up observation, which isn't a question, but, and I've shared this with you, one person who was it was told when their window was where they would be out of power for a short period of time, and the answer is, I can't be out of power because I'm baking a cake. And
it was an important case.
it was an important cake, and they were accommodated very happily, and the cake was, I think it was a birthday cake. But I think that's a little bit of an anecdotal statement, but the fact is that they are listening to us, and they are trying as best they can to accommodate real things in our lives. But so far as I know, because I go down there, and by the way, if anybody is curious, it's kind of fun to watch them work as long as you're not in their way. Because this is a challenge. It's something that you really have to know what you're doing. And it's kind of fun to see them do it.
And those kinds of considerations don't cost us an additional. We have houses next door that are just as ready to be worked today, and we can work that house tomorrow. So there's no cost. It's just a reasonable accommodation. The schedule that we're looking at trying to finish by the end of 14 is getting pushed out a little bit due to this additional days, etc. But we know that AT&T's been calling me at least once a week, wanting to know when that conduit will be ready for them to start doing their work. So we know they're standing ready. We are still under budget. We made an allocation to phase 1 and phase 2 based on the general scopes of the two parts. There's a little bit more money in phase 2 than phase 1. It's a little bit larger, but we're still under budget because we have change orders that we'll be submitting for approval that are a total of $16,000. When you consider that you're talking about the phase 1 cost of $2.5 million, it's about 1% or something like that. So we've been, and that wouldn't put us over the budget. So we're watching that very closely. We'll be going through the town, making sure that all the asphalt patches, those kind of things are properly done, and any sod, landscaping that the contractor inadvertently damaged gets repaired.
That includes small foliage, shrubs, etc.
Anything that they've damaged, they're responsible for putting back. Once we do that, then we have a budget to come back behind that and do some aesthetic treatments to some of the equipment that might be offensive.
Well, thank you, Dan. Sounds like you're on top of it. Any questions? Okay.
Phase 2,
Phase
any
2.
scheduling?
The FPL people are in the final phases of finishing up their drawings according to the project manager. Spoke with him today. We've been pushing them. We've had a couple of iterations of going through their designs and modifying, changing, and tweaking them a little bit. We have to get their designs so that we can bring all the facilities, cable TV, the telephone, and the power into a common area so we don't go putting stuff all over the place. It's much more cost effective if we can consolidate those, and we'll consolidate the plans. So we put out for the contractors that they have one set of plans that covers everything. We are somewhat behind where we'd like to be.
Do you have any estimate of when that plan will be completed?
End of the month.
End of the month?
That was the estimate today.
Okay.
How about the end of phase 2? When does that finish?
Our schedule is probably going to end up being about the middle of 15. Actually, it's probably going to be about the first quarter of 16.
Thank you.
Well, how long after the plans are completed that work would begin on phase 2?
We would, once the plans were all ready to go, we put it out to bid, 30-day notice to standard state CCNA practices. We awarded very quickly. The contract usually can start in 2 or 3 weeks.
So within 2 months of completion of the plans,
They should
you
be,
might expect work to begin
Right.
on phase 2.
right.
Is the current contractor indicated that they will bid on the second phase?
I'm sure that it will. They've asked me a lot of questions about it. I have not asked them that particular question, but they've asked me a lot.
But they are interested in continuing.
And I think we'll have, again, a large number of contractors making proposals. We've had pretty good luck with getting a good field of vendors to step forward.
Good. Any other questions, Mr. Brown? Sir?
Yeah, if I might ask, the original plan was to have the entire town of Gulfstream completed within what period of time?
I think originally we were trying to shoot for the end of 2014.
We were. That's correct. There are really two original plans. There was an original plan that we couldn't start after the assessment process because of some delays caused by concerns by people and the potential for legal issues and so forth and so on. So it didn't make any sense to start spending our money until those were all resolved.
Sure.
And I believe we lost 6 months there, Danny, if I'm correct. So the original plan would have actually had it done in the first part of 14, and those 6 months were added during 14 to make it the middle or end of 14. And you're saying it's now dribbling into 15 and probably going to go through 15 before the polls. I think there's a difference between people are tied in and it's over. It's the polls are down, the landscaping is completed, everything's done. I think for many people, it will, from their personal point of view, they'll be underground in many cases during 15 as originally planned.
The time frame that it will take for the cable TV and the telephone to remove all their facilities and place them underground and get them off the poles. The FPL overhead crews that will come in and remove the poles and wires cannot come in and do that until all the communication lines are off the poles. So we have a sequence of events that has to happen one after the other. So in our experience with the telephone company and cable TV companies is they're working this in on a time available type basis. We just have to keep pushing them to make sure they don't go away and not come back. We had the 12-month cycle to get the binding cost estimate from FPL on phase one, which was another delay, which we ended up seeking some help from the Public Service Commission, which did provide some help. So I think that people should be aware that the services will be converted, and then we'll have the telephone company, the cable TV company come in and remove all their facilities and place them underground. And after that, the power company will come back and take the poles and no-head wires out. So it's kind of a protracted process, even after we get all the residents over on the underground system.
Was that included in the first quarter of 2016, or is that on top of?
That first quarter 2016 is more of an FPL conversion, that everybody's on the underground.
So we're looking at the end of 16 probably, before everything's finished.
We started this process in 2010, January of 2010.
We actually started the planning of it in 2008.
Bob started in 2008.
So we knew it would take a long period of time. We never imagined it would take this long. But there's always a reason, and you do your best you can. You keep pushing.
Just to summarize it, you're expecting all power to be underground by the end of 16, perhaps with landscaping and other cleanup action, perhaps
For sure.
somewhere after that.
For sure.
The power will be.
And the residents have been really good. We've tried to keep them informed. We tried to work with them, and they've been very good to work with. We really appreciate that.
Excuse me, I have one more question. It would seem to me, in my naive way, that there are a lot more houses in section 2 or phase 2 than there were in phase 1. Does that make the job more difficult?
Not necessarily. We should be in areas that are a little more accessible than some of the areas we had when we were going over the golf course through the woods and thickets and things like that. In cases where homes are fed from the street, a lot of them are already underground from the street to the house. So all we have to do is convert the street, and that is much easier than having to, and I think all the overhead services, it seems like we're in the south end, or the majority of them.
Yes, Cindy?
It seems to me when I first came and you all came to talk about this proposal, that you had done Jupiter Island, is that correct?
Yes.
And they had been so very happy with your services. How long did it take for them from beginning to end for Jupiter Island?
It was 3 years. We had very little telephone and very little cable TV. And those are the two things that really bog us up.
Any other questions? Not? Yes, sir?
Cable TV and all
Is
those
Very
there.
Is it feasible to use more than one contractor to cut the time in half?
It's a sequential process. It would not be in the town's best interest to try to do that. You have to provide the main feeder line to support the local lines, to support the transformers, to move the customers over. And you can't go and do the customers without having flow through the other steps in the process. We could put accelerated timeframes on the contractor, but it would end up costing the town significantly more money.
No.
We're
We're lucky we're under budget now. Let's leave it.
Any other questions before we have Mr. Brown in here for it? All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Town manager report.
No report, sir.
Architectural Review and Planning Board, next meeting is September 18th. I would like to just let you know that Mandy Jones suffered a pretty bad accident, serious accident actually, aboard a sailboat several weeks ago in Boston. I spoke to her. She's mending, but seriously hurt. She is going to try to fly in for the on the 18th, but our
she up in north now?
She is. She can't fly. You know, let her board plan on the 17th. So if she continues to progress. Finance Director report.
Ask that the report be accepted as submitted.
July 2014, August 2014 reports will be accepted as submitted. Water usage as well,
Yes.
accepted as submitted. Chief Ward.
As submitted.
I'm sorry?
As submitted.
For July 2014 and August 2014, the police activity report will be accepted as submitted. We move on to the first item of commission action under section 9, which is the allocation of the 2015 Justice Assistance Grant Funds. Mr. Thrasher, would you address that for us, please?
Yes, this is a cooperative effort with municipalities and Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Commission. And we enter and agree to this each year. We are recommending that the town commission approve this agreement.
Any questions?
Is there any difference in this agreement from what is approved in past years?
The distribution, yes.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
but it's essentially the same agreement that just keeps
Yes.
rolling over. Thank you.
It's been recommended that the approval of the allocation of 2015 Justice Assistant Grant Funds. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Read it.
Commissioner Ganger?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Resolution 14-06. Rita, would you address that for us?
Certainly. A resolution of the Town Commission, Town of Gulfstream, Florida, providing for the appropriations of budget expenditures in the general fund for ADA modifications for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2014, and providing an effective date. Be it resolved by the Town Commission, Town of Gulfstream, Florida, that the following reappropriations be made. Legal services and administration, increase of $241,650. Decrease in capital outlay for the police department and the streets, $6,650 for the police department, $225,000 capital outlay for streets, and a decrease from the miscellaneous repair and maintenance for streets of $10,000. And this is being presented for adoption the 12th day of September, 2014.
Questions, comments? Resolution 14-06 has been read, providing for the appropriations and budget expenditures in the general fund for ADA modifications for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2014, with an effective date today. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Ganger?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Any items by commission? If not, we have another meeting at 5:01. This commission meeting is adjourned.